Nikki. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the April wrap-up. How many days are in April? Question. Tomorrow's the last day. So I'm going to start with audiobooks. The first one is, I am reading it right now. It's the second of Lockwood and Cole, The Whispering Skull, or just The Whispering Skull. I'm about 50%. I'll probably finish it tomorrow. So far, I'm really digging it. It's just a great continuation of the first one. The characters are really fun. I like the mystery that's happening. I read a review where they said they could pick out what was going to happen. I can't. I'm really bad at it. I would never be a mystery writer because I would be really obvious. So we'll do the other audiobooks. I read Unbecoming a Lady by Teresa O'Neill, I think is how you say that. Here's my soda. And it was about women in the past. I don't think they did any recent women who just sort of did their own thing and didn't really give a shit about what men thought of them. They have the lady, the real life mom from Cheaper by the Dozen. They have, there's a lady that I've read about. She was like really stingy but really rich. I think they talked about her. And they just talked about a lot of great women, and it was really great and funny. So yeah, it's only like 4 hours audiobook. So, thumbs up. I read Hidden Valley Road. I got all these from my library. My Libby, by the way. I didn't know I think I've said this before, there's a county library, which I'm a part of, and it's not very big. And then there's a city library in Paso Robles that I have to get into because I think it would add to it. But the county library isn't very big on audiobook stuff. They have like a lot of the popular stuff, but not a lot else. So I was actually really surprised they had Hidden Valley Road. I'd been wanting to read it since I first heard about it, and it is about, I've forgotten the family name. Let me find it. The Galvins, and they are in Colorado, and it talks about the mom and the dad, and then it gets into the bulk of the story, which is they had 12 children, which was a lot. Even then, people were, even like Mimi, that's the mom, they were like, why are you having so many children? And it was 2 girls and 10 boys, and 6 of the 10 Galvin boys had schizophrenia. And I talked about Dawn and Mimi, the parents, and their backgrounds and how they met. And it wasn't a happy family. And then it talks about all the children. And some of the boys were sexually abused by a priest, and then they sexually abused each other and the girls. And then it also talks about the history of schizophrenia, which I found really interesting. And it's a really great read. I quite enjoyed it. As much as you can enjoy this kind of sadness in the family. It was interesting to read, and the Galvins, their DNA has really helped schizophrenia. And then the end, it talks about the two sisters who were the youngest, so they were really affected by this stuff, and how they, as adults, deal with things. One of them, I believe the youngest, moved back home and helped all of her brothers, and the older sister doesn't really do that, and they sort of get mad at each other about it, but they're family in the end. So it was a great book. I was glad I read it. Okay. Next audiobook was The Tombs of Atuan. This is a reread. Ursula K. Le Guin, second in the Earthsea series. Excuse me. Siri came on. And we follow Ged again, but he's not really the main character. Our main character is Tenar, Aha, I'm not sure. I think I heard Aha, but not the Wikipedia, there's an R in it. So, and she is the high priestess of this death cult kind of thing, and she was taken at a young age and basically guided to be the guardian of the tombs, and it's like a little labyrinth, and only the high priestess can know the way. So, and then Ged shows up and turns her whole life upside down. So, again, it was really good. Ursula K. Le Guin is amazing. I'm glad I found her. I would definitely check it out. And Ged is older. I want to say Tanar's maybe 14 to 16, 17. I'm not sure. I don't know if they give an exact date. And Ged is older, but I'm not sure how much. I think he might be in his 20s, maybe 30s. I'm not 100% sure on that. Then I read Royal Witches. I have Spotify, and I'm like, oh my god, they have audiobooks. So I check my Libby, Spotify, and Audible. Because if I can get it on Spotify, I'm not going to get it on Audible. And if I can get it from Libby, I will. So Royal Witches is about... I don't know why it just signed me out. 4 women. In England, specifically. Who were accused of being witches. There's Joan of Navarre, who I can't remember she was married to. Who was she married to? Oh, King Henry the Fourth. IV is 4. And they didn't have any kids together. She had kids with her first husband who died. I believe her and Henry were a love match. Or did he have a wife? He had a wife who died as well. So they were just, yeah. And she took care of the kingdom for Henry V, her stepson. And what was happening around then? Oh, there was the 100 Years' War. So stuff was happening, and she was Navarre, wherever that is, France probably. There's not a map. I think it's France. So stuff was happening, and Henry V imprisoned her and confiscated her money and land. And that she was accused of witchcraft, and that was why. And she had a really good, stipend for being the Queen Dowager, and Henry V really needed that money, so... Because there was really no bad blood between them. He really liked her as a stepmom, and she really liked him as a stepson. And then there's Eleanor Cobham, who was not a queen. She was a duchess. Who was the king then? Or also, her husband was Humphrey. And this is around the same time, Henry 4, 5, and 6. And Eleanor was accused of witchcraft. I believe there was a revolt of some kind, and she was at first the mistress of her husband, and then she married him, and then it was annulled because of the witchcraft. And they said that she used witchcraft to try to kill the king and to seduce Humphrey into her bed. And she goes, oh, yeah, because obviously she was tortured. And they named a child Arthur. No, if you're English, never name your child Arthur. Because they're always trying to be a King Arthur, and it's like, no, it's never gonna work. Never. She was not executed, but I don't believe she was. No, but she died, basically. She was like a nobody, essentially, and then because she was the mistress, and then she rose to, like, the Duchess of Gloucester. I believe that's how you say it. And then she died because of witchcraft. And then we have Jacquetta of Luxembourg, who was the mother of the next one, Elizabeth Woodville. They go hand in hand, her and Elizabeth, because it's her mother. They were both accused of witchcraft to get what's his name? He's an Edward IV, to marry Elizabeth Woodville, so her family could be in charge. Of course, that's Richard III saying it. So her husband was executed as well, and again, because of the whole thing, and yeah, so that's those two. And so it doesn't really talk about the history of witchcraft, but it talks about the history of these 4 women and the times, and why the men basically said they were witches. Probably the one that got off the easiest was Joan of Navarre. Elizabeth Woodville and Jacquetta of Luxembourg basically died without knowing what would happen to Edward IV's children. We know what Richard III probably did. So yeah, I actually liked it very much. It was interesting. I didn't know. I think I knew about Elizabeth Woodville and her witchcraft stuff, but I didn't know about the other 3. And Eleanor Cobham, to me, is the most interesting because she was like, she came from nothing. Like, Joan of Navarre and Jacquetta of Luxembourg were royals in other countries that came here. Eleanor Cobham was just kind of like a nobody. So, yeah, it really shows you that not much has changed in history. Alright, next is here, The Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries. I would say this is like a cozy thing. A cozy mystery. Mrs. Jeffries is the inspector's housekeeper. And she's very smart. Her husband was a police officer, and he passed away a while ago. And the inspector is not as smart as Mrs. Jeffries. I believe he can come to the conclusions himself, but Mrs. Jeffries sort of nudges him in that direction. But he doesn't know it. And all the people that work for him, he has like a little manor house thing in the city, and he inherited it. And everybody that works there really likes the inspector, so they all help out Mrs. Jeffries, help the inspector. It's the start of a series. I'm not sure how many books there are. There are 41. I found the first one on Libby. I was surprised they had it. I don't know if I want to listen to any more. I thought it was a cute little Victorian mystery. So maybe if I needed something to like just chill out with, I think it would be a good one. But it's not one I'm gonna pick up right away. The mystery I thought was very good. A man is found dead. They think it's a suicide, and then they find out it's not. And it's like in a little neighborhood, and so all the neighbors are suspects. So yes, it was quite good. It was quite good. And then the final one, the final audiobook was Circe. I got that from the library as well, and I liked it. I don't... Oh my god. I did like it. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know. I didn't... Oh, I know what. I can't remember now. I put it... Circe was kind of dumb. Like, and again, her family was shit. All the gods were not nice people. Or gods, whatever. Her family wasn't very nice. They weren't very nice to her. And then they found out her and her 3 siblings can do magic, and they were all afraid of it. And I'm like, why? But Hecate is right there. That's her thing. She's the goddess of magic. So I didn't quite understand that. And then and men disappointed her every time. But then like a group of men show up and she's trying to be nice to them, and then the captain rapes her. It isn't graphic, but that's what happens, and then she turns them into pigs, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, even I knew she should be suspicious, but whatever. And then, she still thinks, I guess that makes her nicer than most people, because she still thinks of the good in people, and she meets Odysseus, and she thinks he's nice, but he's really not. And then when she has a son by him, she doesn't tell him any of the bad things, and he only thinks of the good things, and it just leads to disaster. Ugh. But in the end, it all worked out for her, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if I liked her all the time. I think you were supposed to. But I didn't like her all the time. I did like when she met Penelope. That was fun. And I did like the detail that she would explain that she used. They call it pharmaca for her magic. I'm not sure how her siblings used their magic, but she basically used plants and stuff from her island to make her powerful spells, so that's good. It was good. Alright, now for physical books. I read most of them that I put on my TBR. It was just one. This was my last physical book I read. Angel Fire East. This is the third in the Word and the Void. And it just continues John, Ross, and Nest Freemark and their series. It concludes that little trilogy. And sets up for not the next one, but the one after that, I'm pretty sure. Or a couple after that. But yeah, again, I really like it. There's this thing. It happens. It's not that I'm bored to read it, but it's like there's a lot of setup. And then basically halfway through, it just goes. And I kind of like it. Like, there's a lot of detail. Maybe some of the detail we didn't need. But whatever. It makes the world feel more real, even though this is set on Earth. Or in, like, a world we could understand with telephones and stuff like that. So, yeah. And then it just goes. And I like the ending. I like the magic. I like the bad guys because they get their comeuppance. And that's all that matters. So, yeah, I can't tell you a lot without spoiling it. And I did like the ending. It was very good. I'm excited to continue. Oh, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before, and I don't know why he does it, but some characters, like Nest's name is Nest Freemark, and John's name is John Ross, and the bad guy is Findo Gask, I believe. And sometimes he uses their full names. Like John and Nest Freemark talk to Findo Gask. And I'm like, you can just use John and Nest. I don't, and then he'll go, John Ross and Nest walked to the car. I'm like, what are you doing? Why do you do, that's the only thing that irritates me. He did it in a couple, I'm like, I know their full names. You don't have to keep telling me. Unless there's like a super secret reason he does that. That's kind of annoying. Then I read This Poison Heart. It is a part of a duology, and it is LGBTQIA+, and nobody told me this, it's Greek mythology. Her name is Briseis, which was Achilles' lady from Troy. There's Circe, and Selene, and Medea. Medea? Yeah, Medea. I think that's how you say it. And then Hermes and Jason, and I'm like, oh, it's Greek mythology. Okay. So Briseis has magic powers. Basically any plant. All the plants love her, whether she wants them to or not. And she lives in New York with her moms, her two moms. And then she finds out her birth mother's sister has died and left her a house. Not just a house. There's like, it's a huge Victorian like house with a huge grounds and stuff. Like a secret garden as well. In not New York City. And so her and her family go out there. And she finds out the mystery of her, and I liked it. In New York City, her parents have a flower shop, and in the rural town she goes to, there's a apothecary, and she basically takes over for that to help the community out there. And she does find, like I said, a secret garden, and she makes some friends and a girlfriend, and she finds out stuff about her past, and yes, it was very good. I wasn't sure about it for a while, I will say that, but then when they got to the little town, I was like, yeah, I kind of dig this. I don't like urban fantasy a lot. Like, I was afraid it was going to be all in New York City. But once it got out to the country and Briseis was exploring her powers a little bit more and letting them flex and strengthen, and I liked that a lot. So, yes. Good job. I am going to pick up the sequel eventually. Because it ends on a cliffhanger. Not a cliffhanger, but like it ends. I guess it is a cliffhanger. It's not like suspense, but like how it ends is like you immediately want to pick up the second one. So then I read Daughter of Chaos. This is the first in a series. I didn't like this as much. This is Greek mythology as well. And it's about Danae, who eats a golden apple, and her life sort of unravels from there. But before she ate the apple, her life was already pretty bad. There was not a long portion, but a pretty big portion of setup for her and her island and her family, and that was fine. And you just kind of wanted to punch people who were awful. And then she takes off and she goes to Athens and gets in trouble. She goes to Delphi, gets in trouble, and then she meets up with Heracles at Atlanta. Who else was there? And two other guys. And then they basically hook up with the Argonauts and go on a thing so she can go do her thing. It was okay. I thought it... Did it say it was LGBT? QIA+? It might have done. They get to the... whatever it is in the Argonaut. What's that island? Argonaut. The women of Lemnos. They go to Lemnos and there's no men and it's all women, and they keep the Argonauts there forever. Not forever, but and she is with a woman there, and there's sort of like a flirtation with her and Atalanta, I thought, but eventually she hooks up with Heracles and the other guy who's with him. What's his name? Hylas. Yeah. Hylas has a crush on her, but she likes Heracles, so that wasn't fun. What else was there? Oh yeah, and I did see this in a review, so I was prepared for it, but they say that in the book, they say they can't find Lemnos. Like, ooh, it's an island we've never seen before, when Lemnos is... It's not a big Crete island, but it's not tiny. People know it's there. And then at some point she says Athens is the city of Apollo. It's not called Apollos. It's called Athens. It's Athena's city. So that was great. But she did get Delphi right. And then I didn't pick up on it, but the island that she is from... Naxos, I'm pretty sure. She says it's Demeter's island, when it is, in fact, Dionysus's island. In fact, they have the, oh gosh, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. The Maenads. The Maenads? Yeah. And they come and they fill the women up with whatever and makes them go crazy, and Ariadne's there and everything. And so I'm like, well, that's not sound like Demeter's, because they're like at a temple to Demeter and they're gonna sacrifice people, which okay, I guess. I don't know if they did that all the time, but whatever. So yeah, some of the mythology was a bit weird for me personally, and then Danae was kind of stupid sometimes. Like, she didn't really think things through. And she does have a power, and she uses it sort of on accident a lot of times, and then has to, like, cover up her tracks. So it's a bit iffy. I did enjoy the Jason slander in this, though. Jason is a major dickhead in this, and it's from Paige the minute you meet him, and I love a good Jason slander. He's the worst. He's the worst. Almost as bad as Agamemnon. I hate that guy. And then I read A Bone Shard Emperor, which is the second in the Bone Shard trilogy, or whatever it's called. And this is a continuation of the first one, obviously. And Lynn and all the POVs are there. Lynn and the guy whose name I've forgotten. Jovis, and then the Ranmi and where is it? Filu. That one. And of course their stories converge, just like they did in the first one, which I love. And Lynn and Jovis kind of figure out what they are. And the Alanga and more Alanga are popping up all over the place, and their little, where are they? There they are. Their little creatures are important somehow, but not all Alanga have the little creatures. And there's one guy who shows up that has one, and he's the worst to that poor little thing. I hate it. I hope he dies. Oh, and then Sand from the first book is here as well. And it just all converges at a wonderfully end point, and I'm excited to read the third one. So it's just, like, Lynn has to go around to all these places and prove how good of an emperor she is. Whatever they're mining off the islands is sort of not good for the islands. It sort of makes them float. So she has to stop that, and people get mad at her, and all this stuff, and so there's a lot of politics on hand, but I liked it. There's some romance, of course, so yes, very good. I hope the third one is as good as the other two. And then I read Jade War, and this cover is great, by the way. This is the fight scene in the book that I liked the most. I thought it's between the sister, whose name I can't remember. Shay, the weatherman, and Ayat something. That was a good fight scene. I think there was another fight scene maybe near the end that was really good. But I didn't really enjoy this one. There was a lot of politics, which was fine, but it was kind of boring politics. And there are massive time skips in this that they don't really tell you about. Like, a chapter will end, and then the next one will say, oh, blah, 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 it's been 5 years. And you're like, what? There's, like, huge time skips in this. Maybe not huge, but, like, there's a couple time skips in between chapters that they don't tell you about, and I think that would have helped. And again, it's about, I don't want to spoil it, but it's more I mean, it is called Jade War, but it's a more of a political war and an economic war than an actual melee fighting. Like this one and then the one at the end are kind of it. But yeah, I don't know. I did like it, but I didn't like it a lot. Like the first two books in this series, I didn't like a lot. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the third one. I think, and then for characters, I like Andin. I don't always like Hilo or Shay. I like Hilo's wife. Wen, she's great. She's a lot of fun. But everybody else except Andin I'm kind of iffy about, so I don't know if I'm gonna like the third one. But I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a good go. I did read some reviews. People said it. Some people were like, "Oh my god, yeah," but then other people were like, didn't really hold up to the other two. And I'm like, well, I don't already like the other two that much, so that doesn't bode well for me. But anyway, that's what I read in April, and I talked a lot. Go me. And I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.